Um, as of right now, I'm looking at Wrestlepalooza. I wrote down 5 matches. 5 matches is kind of like the plain Jane wrestling PLE show now. You might get a 6th match. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, they're gonna pepper you with more matches because it's a bigger show. I thought this was gonna be a big show that it was looked at like a WrestleMania, but as of right now, I only wrote down 5 matches that I think are going to be on this show. Because I mean, this thing's coming up in 2 weeks, and then on top of that, we turn around and we're going to be getting um Crown Jewel a few weeks after that. They might get into a jam where they're running rematches at us on that show. But what I wrote down was Cena versus Brock as the main event. I wrote down AJ and Punk versus Becky and Seth because that's really hot in the streets right now. I wrote down Io versus Stephanie because that match has already been announced. And then after Monday, I wrote down Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed against the Usos. I was guessing that's why Jimmy ran out to help Jay when he was getting beat up by the Vision at the end of the show. And then for a last match, which honestly I had a little bit of trouble writing it down, Roman just got written off TV. He just got dinged up in the opening match against Bronson Reed when he was beaten up after the match. I'm guessing that he's going over to do Street Fighter. I don't know if Cody is going to be free for this, but it kind of reminds me of like when Cody on the Unreal show that was on Netflix, like they were having trouble finding a spot for him on this big opening of Netflix, big show that they're hoping that like millions and millions of people watch, more than would have watched it on the USA Network. Um, are they going to let him miss this, or is this something that he has to be there because he is the quarterback, he is the champion, he is the main guy? So I wrote down Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes, and then I wrote down a slash Randy Orton because after last SmackDown with Drew and Orton in the ring, they got to be building to something. They're not just like stringing us along. So that's basically the card that I wrote down to show you that I wrote down the slash Orton thing there for you. If they do Drew versus Orton, they could be looking at like a number one contenders match. I guess you can say. Drew, of course, is going to get the win. I mean, Cody Rhodes has to come back from Drew beating him up on SmackDown a few weeks ago and find a way to get his win back, to sit upon the top of WWE. There's not really a ton there is to say about that because like they've kind of just left us in the dark there. But for WWE champion to make sure that the championship would be on this, I think that it's going to be great. You look at Braun and Bronson against the Usos. In a few of my Jay Uso videos, I've kind of been knocking the fact that like Jimmy Uso has been nowhere to be seen this entire year. I thought when Jay won the Royal Rumble, I thought that they would put Jimmy over on SmackDown and he would like find a way to like get into the United States title picture or something like that. But it never came to be. I mean, like, this is the first time that Jimmy's like been put in a spot that kind of really matters. And I was laughing at the end of Raw when Jimmy came running down with the chair, thinking that the Braun or Bronson would even like get out of the ring. I don't care if Jimmy Uso's running in with the chair by himself. I'm going to punch the chair, and the chair's going to punch Jimmy in the face, and we knock him out. Then we just tsunami him over in the corner for the fun of it. But the Usos as a team, we haven't seen it. I guess we saw it at War Games last year. They were in the same match together, but Jimmy and Jay tagging together, we haven't seen since before WrestleMania 40. So, I mean, if you forgot, the Usos are the freaking team. I remember I used to tweet like almost on the daily. I wanted to see the Usos versus the Young Bucks, and I even wanted to see the Usos against the Briscoes. Honestly, even more than that. How they work as a team, the only problem with this is that Roman beat Bronson on the last show. The Usos teaming up. Are they losing to Braun and Bronson to make us want to see Braun versus Roman once Roman is able to come back? Because if Braun and Bronson lose again, they're gonna be with Seth, so they're like two of the main guys of the show, but they've already got moved down the card because Becky joined the group. That they're going to be less featured. Braun was saying that he was the star of now, that he was going to be running the WWE for the next 20 years. And here they are losing to a team that hasn't even teamed up together in 2 years. So as of right now, if this match gets put to be, like, I guess I would pick Braun and Bronson to get the win, even though, like, I want the Usos to win this match. I just think that's going to be getting us to where we're getting later. From there, we go to Io Sky going up against Stephanie Vakir. Earlier this year, you know, when Stephanie was rocking NXT, and then she got brought up to the main roster, I thought that it was now for her. I thought that they were like kind of rewarding her. If you don't know the backside of the story, is that like Stephanie Vakir in that video where she said she wanted to be a WWE superstar, that's a real effing story. AEW, you can go back, I think 2 years ago, Stephanie Vakir wrestled for them as a part of Forbidden Door. And when AEW tried to sign her, she went to WWE, and WWE said, like, hey, we would love to have you, but we're only willing to offer you this much money. And it's been reported that AEW's offer was twice to 3 times as much. And she wanted to be a WWE superstar that much. She took WWE's money. WWE was telling her not to do this, to go to AEW, make a name for herself in the United States, and that would make her stock worth more in the long run. Honestly, it's the same thing that Mariah May did when Mariah May was getting offered more money, but she wanted to go to WWE so bad. She took less of an offer, knowing that she would make more in the long run. And if you watch NXT or you watch some NXT clips, I think that as soon as this deal is done, she's going to win out, honestly, in the long run. But right here, I think the buildup is Io Sky to get the win, because Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley is definitely the plan. I'm not sure if that's going to be like a big match on Survivor Series, if they're going to try and find some way to save that for the Royal Rumble, which would definitely set up something for WrestleMania for one of them. Somehow, the story needs to get back to Rhea Ripley beating Io Sky for the first time to put that to rest. And then we need to start setting the table for when Liv Morgan comes back, and we have a Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley huge match as a payoff to what was happening with the Judgment Day and Dom before she got hurt. From there, we'll move up to the card to AJ and CM Punk going up against Becky and Seth. I've made 2 videos about AJ, and they honestly have done huge numbers for my channel, a lot more than recently. I think AJ is somebody that a lot of fans have been wanting to come back for a long period of time. AJ's run in WWE to me doesn't seem like it was really that long. I think it was like 2 years at the most. And I think a majority of that time, she was the Divas champion. And she beat a lot of people. But for some reason, she really connected with a lot of fans, probably with the time that they were getting into wrestling. that's one of the main reasons that they want her to come back. The reason why she left, I think, was more than anything was her neck. But definitely WWE probably wasn't making a ton easy on her. I know that there's like HR and things like that. Like you just can't like go up to somebody and like start berating them for who their husband is. But like it had to be a real sticky situation for a year after CM Punk walked out. Um, that they're probably trying to get messages to him through her. And I think that when, she did WrestleMania with Paige against the Bellas, and then she probably did the Raw after, that she was like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of there. And she probably didn't skip a beat. And, since then, we've seen her do some acting. We've seen her do some comic books. We've seen her do, she wrote her own book. She does the autograph signings here and there along the way. I think she's doing good. And even if it is just a one-off to come in, much like how um, Beth Phoenix would come in to help Edge. We saw Maurice come back and help The Miz, when needed. I think it would be awesome. And then, of course, that would open the door if she has fun for a Royal Rumble return, get one more big pop, get one more big entrance out of there. And then hell, if she loves it, I mean, look at Trish Stratus coming back for that like run when, dare I say that Trish Stratus is 50 years old. I don't think she is, but let's just say that last run from Trish was at 40. Like, good God. Like, every time she came out there as a heel, I was like, dude, we are not worthy of all of this. I don't think we've seen the last of Trish Stratus, but, if we could get a random match from AJ, I think AJ versus Roxanne Perez would do numbers, honestly, as well. But in this whole run, you got to think that AJ and Punk are going to get the win in this tag match. And I think that would set up Punk versus Seth in a singles match. I think we're getting to that time of the year, where we're Bad Blood, or, the October pay-per-view was called Hell in a Cell. I think we have to be getting to the point where Punk versus Seth in a Hell in a Cell match makes a lot of sense. I think it's what people want to see. I know that we saw Punk versus McIntyre last year, but Punk versus Seth deserves it. For as far back as the feud goes with Punk and McIntyre, you can say that Punk versus Seth started that day that he came back to the WWE, honestly, as well. From there, we'll move on to the main event, which, it's not a championship match, but both of these guys have been champion. They've been around the block where they've carried the ball for this company. Brock seems to be somebody that like is here and there along the way. Cena, though, carried that ball for a long time. He went off to be a major success, TVs, movies, commercials. If he's done with wrestling, if he says that he really can't do this anymore, I tip my hat to the guy. I think we owe the guy as much as he wants. Hall of Fame, WrestleMania 42, come on back, Hall of Fame class of 2026. I think that that's going to be awesome. Part of me thinks that, Brock and Cena is not going to be settled in 1 month, even though Cena hasn't had a rematch in back-to-back months, besides for he tagged with Logan Paul, and then he had a match against Logan Paul. And then he had a match against Cody at WrestleMania, and then he had a match against Cody again at SummerSlam. That's the WWE title picture. But everything else, the match against Orton was just a one-off, no matter how much people wanted to see it. If you look at that last match against Logan Paul, we saw Cena showing love to AJ Styles, Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin. I'm sure there's even more. I've wanted to go back and rewatch the match to see how many Easter eggs that I can find inside of it. But I don't want to see Cena lose. We've seen Cena as a babyface lose too many matches. in the last number of years. This is it. This is hopefully the end of this story. Do you want to see Cena versus Brock at Crown Jewel? Do you want to see it at his last match at the Saturday night's main event? Do you want to see it if it happens inside of War Games? Where it's, I think we're definitely setting up our situation for the bloodline. Where I think it's going to be Roman, it's Jey Uso. I think it's probably going to be Jimmy Uso if they're going to be bringing back the Usos. And then, like, where is this last spot going? Is it going to freaking Punk, which makes a lot of sense because I think they're going to be going up against the Vision, which would be Seth Rollins. It'll be Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And then this last spot, I think they're going to steal from AEW. And I think Becky is going to be added into this match, which means that now you don't need Punk or Jimmy in there. And what woman is going to join this group? Is it going to be a Rhea Ripley? Is it going to be AJ, staying with it? And continuing this story 2 months down the road and coming back. Is it going to be a payoff on last year's War Games where Punk and Roman teamed together but wanted nothing to do with each other, and you could tell that Roman didn't trust Punk, even though Punk was trying to get him to be on the same page the whole time, to the point where he put his hand out and stopped him from entering into the cage when Punk thought it was his turn to go out. I love this stuff, man. I really, really would. I love this stuff. But Cena versus Brock's going to be a really, really big match. I really, really want Cena to win this thing. That's my God honest truth. But that's what I think the pay-per-view is going to be. I think it's going to be Cena versus Brock, AJ and Punk versus Becky and Seth, EO versus Stephanie Fakir, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker against the Usos, Drew having a match either against Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton. I really don't see them doing a first ESPN PLE kicking off this era without Cody Rhodes. I understand there's movies out there to be made. I don't even care if he has to come back with the Guile haircut to do it. I think that, it's got to be Cody, right? I think that's who it is.